What's that girl's name you run against?
What?
What's that person's name you run against?
Well, good evening and welcome to the regular meeting for the Board of Commissioners for the City of Cushing. We're glad you're here. We will now call this meeting to order. Mrs. Worthy, will you please call roll?
Mr. Brandon?
Present.
Mr. Lamb?
Here.
Mr. Beasley?
Present.
Mr. Lofton?
Here.
Chairman Robertson?
Present. The chair recognizes a quorum. Thank you, Mrs. Worthy. Will you please stand and join us as we do our opening prayer? Commissioner Ron Lamb is going to lead us in that, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you all join me in prayer, please? Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for this great day that you've given us, and we thank you for all that you've done for us. Lord, we just ask that you be with us tonight as a city. We ask that you give this commission wisdom and guidance, and give us the right decisions to make. Lord, I thank you for everyone here. I ask that you watch over them and bless them. I pray for America, that you watch over them and bless them. And I pray for the city of Cushing, that you bless it. I ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join us in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. We do have one proclamation this evening to present on behalf of Wings of Hope. Do we have a representative from Wings of Hope here? If you'll come join me, I'll read the proclamation. All right. This is Ash with Wings of Hope. Let's give her a warm welcome. So Wings of Hope does a lot of great things within Payne County. They're things that we don't like to talk about, but important work nonetheless. And this month, we want to recognize and proclaim that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I have a proclamation here to read on behalf of Wings of Hope, and we're going to present this proclamation to Ash. So whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month is designed to support victims of domestic violence in their time of greatest need, whereas Oklahoma is consistently ranked as one of the states with the highest rates of domestic violence, whereas unhealthy relationships can have a lifelong negative impact on personal health and children's health, and whereas we can break the cycle of domestic violence before it starts by equipping families with skills for healthy relationships, whereas parents, community leaders, civic organizations, and schools are an integral part of providing safe, healthy, and positive support system for survivors, and whereas assisting survivors is not just an investment in the future, it's an investment in Oklahoma for generations to come. Therefore, we recognize the need to honor and support domestic violence survivors in Cushing, Oklahoma, and hereby declare October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Now, therefore, I, B.J. Robertson, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Cushing, do hereby proclaim October 2025 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Last year, Wings of Hope answered more than 1,200 calls to our crisis line. Each call was not just a number. It was a person reaching out because they felt unsafe, scared, or vulnerable. We recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month to send clear message to our neighbors, our families, and our communities. You are not alone. This October, our campaign is to promote peaceful homes because we believe every person deserves a safe space to return to at the end of the day. Together, we can build a community where safety, dignity, and peace are the foundation of every home. Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll now move to item 2, consent agenda. Having read the consent agenda, are there any items any commissioners would like removed for further discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Lofton to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have a second from Commissioner Lamb. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, that item is approved by a vote of 5-0. We'll move to item 4, general business, scheduled business. Item 4A, presentation and acceptance of fiscal year 2024-2025 City of Cushing audit. And to present the audit findings this year, we have, as always, Chuck Crooks from CBEW Professional Group. Welcome, Chuck, and we're looking forward to your presentation, so thanks for being here.
I'm glad somebody's looking forward to it. I am Chuck Crooks. I'm with CBEW Professional Group. Thank you for the opportunity to work on your audit again this year. Overall, I mean, it's always so good to come here because everything's in order. Everyone's willing to work with us. We can find what we need. We ask for it. We get it. The staff here you have is great, and they take care of us, so I don't have any issues whatsoever with that. The audit itself, I don't think you've had a chance probably to look at it over beforehand. Did you have any questions ahead of time on it or anything?
Anybody have any preliminary questions? No? Okay.
We give basically 2 opinions in here. One's on the audit report, on the financial statements themselves, so it's a clean opinion. As far as on the GAAP basis of accounting, that is the first letter within there. The second one is on internal control compliance, and if we had any findings, I believe Mr. Griffith told me a while ago, he just flipped straight to the back just to see, to make sure where it is and what it is. And it's the same finding from last year, just kind of repeated because it's still ongoing, but it's still something that you're working on to get taken care of. Then the city itself, you look through there, I mean, remember, it is on the GAAP basis of accounting, so there are things thrown in there like the pension liabilities and so forth and things like that. They're just kind of skewed a little bit from what your day-to-day operations really looks like. If you look at it, the CMA had a profit, which is good for it. It hadn't had a profit in a few years, and this was nice for it to finally have a profit and move forward. It says $2 million on there, but that's on that GAAP basis. If you go back and look, the cash basis, it had about $300,000 profit on the year for cash basis, which is really nice. You have your governmental funds, though, show more of a loss, but those special revenue funds, capital project funds, those are set up to actually spend money at some point in time. So that money comes in, then you finally take those projects and put them to use, and that's when that money kind of goes out a little bit more sometimes on those funds. I think the general fund really didn't have too big a change by the end of the year. It had transfers out and stuff come in, and so your general fund's your main operating account, though, that's happening for the city. And you kind of want to keep it running. You don't want to run it at a loss every year, and it doesn't. But the next thing I have to say is, I believe, I always take a trip around town looking at the new capital assets that are purchased during the year and what's been put in place. And, a lot of people don't see the type of money you actually put into the city and are continuously putting into the city to build it up and make things work properly. And, I mean, just like the sewer project, no one's going to see that. It's in the ground. No one sees it, but you had to spend money to take care of that during the year. And there's just a lot of money spent, and I just keep saying there's even more money that could be spent. It's just a matter of you have to spend it as you go. So, but I'm just appreciative that it's in there, that you're spending money for the city and the well-being of the city. I don't know if I have a whole bunch else to say, unless you have some other questions for me.
Sure. My observations, just generally speaking, were that we have healthy cash reserves still.
Yes.
Our utility rate adjustment last year helped shore up the sustainability of the CMA, our business enterprise, and that we continue to help pay for city services and amenities with transfers from our business enterprise. Are there any notable risks or concerns that we should be aware of with that process? And I believe it's been done that way for years, where the business enterprise helps support the city side.
That's the way it's set up for all cities. That you're supposed to be able to make money to provide those other services, transfer that money to general fund and other operations to make sure your cities are provided the amenities that they get, such as the Senior Citizen Center and the pool, because the pool's not a money-making project. It's just money going back out the door, but you're providing that for the city and the use. So, and that's the way it's supposed to be set up, and that's the way it's supposed to operate and help out the city as it is, and that's what it's doing. So,
does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Crooks regarding the audit? All right. If not, we appreciate the update and the presentation of the audit, and thank you for answering those questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Okay, so we heard the presentation of the audit for fiscal year 2024-2025. If there's no other questions for staff, I would entertain a motion to accept the fiscal year 2024-2025 City of Cushing audit.
I make a motion to approve 4A.
I have a motion from Commissioner Lofton to approve item 4A. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, I have a second from Commissioner Lamb. Any further discussion or debate? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, item 4A is approved by a vote of 5-0. And we'll move to item 4B, acceptance of monetary donation from the Lionel and B. Harris Foundation. And for a presentation and summary on this item, we'll call on City Manager Ryan Ochsner.
Thank you, Chair. For a little bit of background on this topic, in 2021, Lionel B. Harris Foundation made a donation to the city for developments in the Broadway district. Since that time, the need and the interest in the projects that was intended to fund has changed and evolved. So in recent conversations with Trustee Brenda Magnaberg with that foundation, it came up that there was interest to use those funds and to request those funds, I should say, to be used and redirected to sidewalk improvements in the Broadway district. So what you have in your packet is a letter from the foundation requesting that those funds that were donated in 2021 be directed towards sidewalk improvement projects. Now, of course, realizing those are city funds at this point to be used as City Commission directs. However, as we were also having this discussion, the Lionel B. Harris Foundation also provided a check for $60,000 to further fund sidewalk improvements in the Broadway district. In your packet and in the information provided, you'll see a list of sidewalk projects that have been identified and alley projects that these funds should be directed to if so desired by the commission, and that's what's requested on behalf of the foundation. So before you this evening is an item to accept the the $60,000 donation and for those to be directed towards those projects that are listed for sidewalk improvements in the downtown area. Happy to answer any questions, provide additional information if I can.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ochsner. Are there any questions for Mr. Ochsner on this item?
Yeah, two questions, and this might go to council too. This is a letter agreement. It's not exactly a contract, but it has some of the same effect. And I suppose council is okay, staff is all right with the way the descriptions of the work is to be done, but I have a big problem with the date certain of when it's to be completed by January 1, 26. That's only 2 months away. We've got two big holidays in between and have a great chance for bad weather in that period. I think it's unrealistic to think that we could get it done by January 1st. So I wonder if there's any thought for moving that back to say a March date. And other than that, I could live with the rather vague descriptions, but I think they're clear enough to see what is intended. But, I'd be interested if council had any comments or staff.
I'll add, Commissioner, I agree. It is likely that these projects could not be completed by January 1st. And that was part of my response, in addition to thank you to Ms. Magnaberg when she provided this. To set realistic expectations, that was part of my response. And her response back to me gave me a level of comfort that if we maintain communication and progress towards the end goals, I felt that we had an understanding through that conversation and a level of comfort that parties would be satisfied. But absolutely, it still does say January 1 on paper.
Did she give you any indication of a date she'd be comfortable with?
No, we didn't speak about a specific date. Part of the information I shared was that just bidding alone takes a minimum of 21 days for just that process, not to mention award and contracting. The response I received from Ms. Magdenberg was, I understand. That was the extent of the conversation regarding timeline.
My view is that the B and Lionel Harris Foundation has been a terrific asset to the city. They've done, a lot of good work, and both obvious and in public and also behind the scenes for different projects. But man, in my earlier life as an attorney, I would never have encouraged a client to sign a contract that I know from the outset can't be met. And I think this is one of them. I think you're just buying a problem without a realistic date written in there. I understand the urgency of getting it done, but there's still construction around some of these areas. I just don't think it's reasonable to even think it could possibly be done by that date. So on January 2nd, we're having phone calls about why it's not done.
Do you have a solution for that?
No, but I'm not going to vote for it with that date in it.
And that's what I was going to suggest, is that the council could pass it, or the commission rather, could pass it contingent on there being a new date provided. I don't know, again, I didn't speak with the representative from this trust, but I think that we could come to some resolution. It doesn't seem like the intent is to hamstring the city. It's just as a motivation factor. So I think the parties could come to some agreement there.
I would hope so. Yeah.
What if we were to strike the word completed and say started? And approve it that way? If they were
If that was
willing.
fine with them, I'd vote for that.
Okay.
Because I think we can get started, we can get things organized in 2 months to, even bad weather would not keep you from getting started.
I talked to Mrs. Magdenberg on this, and her main concern was just making sure the projects get going, because the 50,000 that is joining the 60 has been there since 2021
Yeah, I
to be
understand
used.
that, yeah.
That's all. I think that's all it's rooted in.
And there were some delays on the other properties too, so I certainly understand that.
Yeah. A lot of these projects are up against the pickleball center that's being built, and so it's in motion. It makes sense for this to move quickly,
Yeah, I
with it
agree.
being an alley and a sidewalk up against that. So
I agree.
Well, it sounds like there may be consensus for a motion for acceptance of the monetary donation from the Lionel and B. Harris Foundation, with the understanding that we will start before January 1st, 2026. Is that a motion someone would?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so I have a motion from Vice Chair Beasley to approve acceptance of the monetary donation from the Lionel and B. Harris Foundation, with the understanding that the city will begin prior to January 1st, 2026. Is there a second?
Well, I might offer an amendment that we also do what they've asked to be done in there, that we make sure that we do the things that they've requested.
So my motion would be to accept the letter as stated, with the exception of the word completed, and change that to the word started.
Okay, you
And-
think, Ms. Magdeburg, I think she'd be okay with
I
it.
think as long as the project start, that was her intention, from my understanding. So,
I'd support that.
Okay, so we'll, friendly amendment to accept the donation with the understanding prior to or start before January 1st, 2026, with the project specified in the letter. Is that it?
yeah.
Or is there a better way to word that? Okay, so Vice Chair Beasley made a motion to approve item 4B with those changes. Mrs. Worthy and Mrs. Huckabee, did you get the motion? Okay. All right, is there a second?
I'd second.
All right, I have a second from Commissioner Branyan. All right, any further discussion or debate?
Basically, just thank you.
Yes, a huge thank you to the Lionel and B. Harris Foundation and for Brenda Magdeburg for continuing to invest in our community to make it better. It's a very generous donation, and it'll help continue to transform our downtown area. Any further discussion? Nope. Okay, we'll now vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, that item is approved by a vote of 5-0. We'll now move to item 4C, consideration and possible action to appoint the Cushing Economic Development Foundation, Inc. as an organization responsible for developing and administering a temporary process to assist the City Commission in exploring opportunities for the active use of city-owned property and providing recommendations to the Commission. And for an introduction to this item, we'll again call on City Manager Ryan Oxner.
Thank you. In May 2025, the City Commission adopted goals related to public infrastructure, organizational finance, and the economics of the community. Among those goals was an effort to explore the highest and best use for city-owned properties. In September, so let's see, last month, during a public workshop before this regular scheduled meeting, you may recall we presented information about some potential properties that may have good opportunity and possibility for further development and higher use. So in response to Commission's input during that workshop and feedback we received, we understood interest to work with a group that is already established and well-known and a partner to us, the Economic Development Foundation, to help aid in developing ideas and uses and potential projects that we may need to consider as a commission to look at as further steps. So this document you have in your packet, and it's in the public's packet of information, describes what that process could look like working with the foundation. I'll touch on a couple of the key points of the document for everybody's understanding. First off, we want the foundation to proceed in a process that creates public awareness and public discussion while also operating with the advantages afforded to it being a private organization. Specifically, Commission's asking them to provide recommendations related to process and policy rather than endorsement of any specific projects, and to look at city-owned property that may be leveraged for housing development and or commercial development. As those projects are looked at, they should be looked at in and through the lens of Cushing Forward and the future land use map. As we know, the citizens contributed a lot of input to that to express their view for the city in the future. So this also identifies the Commission's desire to provide periodic progress updates to the Commission for the Foundation to come back and report periodically, and for the Foundation to participate in your strategic planning session that will be scheduled in March of 2026. And lastly, we're asking them to conclude their work within a year and to bring those recommendations and suggestions back to the Commission for further discussion, review, and consideration. So that kind of recaps the document. Happy to answer any questions and be of any assistance I can from a staff perspective.
All right, thank you, Mr. Oxner. Are there any questions on this proposed item?
Is Mr. Turner going to come up and?
Yeah, I don't know if if there's a representative prepared here to speak on this at all. Mr. Turner, would you like to come up and elaborate on Mr. Oxner's summary? Thanks for being here.
Good evening, Matt Turner. I'm Vice President of the Economic Development Foundation and Chair of the Economic Development Committee. We've talked about this for the last several months. We've discussed it among the foundation as well as our subcommittee, and feel like we would all be capable of taking on this task and being able to report out on it. I think we're all after the same thing here, and I think this gives us a chance to go out, pull in some additional information, and then bring it back to you guys so you can make an informed decision.
Are you comfortable with, have you seen this document?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
It's just the summary of that Mr. Oxner just laid out and how that.
Yeah, I'm very
You're
comfortable with
familiar
what he
with it?
read.
Okay, and you're
Yes.
comfortable with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Turner or Mr. Oxner?
I have a question and a statement. I have a lot of faith in the Economic Development Foundation. You guys have got a real good board, a wide range of opinions and knowledge base on that board. But have you given thought to any outside citizens involved in that? Or do you think you'll keep it in-house with the Economic Development Foundation? What are your thoughts on how you go forward from here?
Yes, our initial thought was, well, let me preface this by saying we need to have a little bit more discussion on who we'd want to bring in. Our committee right now is made up of 4 people that are from the foundation board at large. But I do think it would be to our advantage to bring in another, probably 2 people, somebody with a legal background and somebody from a real estate background.
And would you look at how these properties fit in with the flume, the future land use map?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Several of us were part of that effort as well on the steering team, so I think that would fit in very nicely with that.
Yeah, all right, well, great. I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Thank you.
All right. If no other questions, I would entertain a motion for item 4C.
I'd make a motion, we approve item 4C.
All right. I have a motion from Commissioner Lamb to approve item 4C. Is there a second?
I'd second that.
I have a second from Commissioner Branyan. Discussion and debate. Yeah, I just want to repeat what the other commissioners have said. And I also want to say thank you for staff for moving this project forward. This is part of our strategic vision planning priorities, how to utilize city-owned property that's not currently being utilized and what's the highest and best use for that property. And this is just another step in moving that priority forward. So thank you for staff for continuing to do that. And I agree with Commissioner Branyan that the Economic Development Foundation is full of a lot of qualified individuals, and I have full faith that they'll be able to move this forward in their committee, and thank you for being willing to do so. Yep. All right, that's all I have. Any other comments or discussion? If not, we'll now vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, that item is approved by a vote of 5-0. All right, item 4D, possible action to nominate one of 4 candidates to serve one new 3-year term on the Planning Commission Advisory Board through September 2028. And for an introduction to this item, we'll again call on City Manager Ryan Oxner.
Thank you. In April 21st, 2025, City Commission appointed Mike Griffith to serve on the Planning Commission Advisory Board. Mr. Griffith served part of an unexpired term from another individual who became unable to serve. So now the regular cycle for that appointment, for that position, is up, and we have sought and publicized that there's an opening on the Planning Commission, and requested and sought applicants, so to speak, from interested parties in the community. So this is a little bit different process than how we've sometimes handled these. We wanted to get the commission as many interested individuals as possible for your consideration. It is great to see, it's always great to see folks who are willing to serve their community on the boards and commissions. And those who applied for this particular one, this opening include Ryan Blakemore, Brett Anderson, Regina Brown, and Mike Griffith. So those applications are included in your packet of those individuals, and are willing to serve if so appointed. But we only have one slot available at this time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Oxner. We heard the explanation on the item from Mr. Oxner, and if, unless there's any questions, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, first, thanks to everybody that threw their name in the hat. I've been a big proponent of more people getting involved, and I'm encouraged by this, and I would encourage you to continue to be involved. Like City Manager said, we only have one opening, but we've got qualified people, and I think that's great. But I would like to nominate Ryan Blakemore.
Okay. We have a motion from Commissioner Lamb to appoint Ryan Blakemore to the Planning Commission. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second from Vice Chair Beasley. Now, any discussion regarding the nomination?
We're gonna have more than one nomination?
More than one nomination?
Can we have more than one nomination?
Well, yes, you can make a motion to, a substitute motion to nominate someone else, and if it gets a second, and then,
It's like I said, he said this is a little bit different way than what we've done it before, so trying to find out what we're doing here.
okay.
I'd like to make a substitute motion to nominate Regina Brown for the board. So I'd have to have a second.
Okay, there's a substitute motion from Vice Chair Beasley to appoint Regina Brown to the Planning Commission. Is there a second for that motion?
I want to make a substitute motion.
Well, is there a second for this one first? No. Okay. If no second, we will go back to the original motion and continue discussion.
I want to make a substitute motion for Mike Griffith. I mean, I look at these people and I take their names off of these applications. I look at what their qualifications are, because I can't look at names because I know most of these people. So I look for the most qualified for the position. And just looking at the applications without names on them, it's Mike Griffith. So I'm making a motion to nominate Mike Griffith.
Okay, so we have a substitution amendment to nominate Mike Griffith. Is there a second to that motion?
I would second that.
All right, we have a second from Commissioner Branyan. So now that we have two motions on the floor, we need to deal with the newest motion first, and we will now open it for discussion. Is there any discussion related to the current nomination and motion on the floor regarding Mike Griffith to be appointed?
I said my spiel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just say he's eminently qualified. He's been on the Planning Commission before, and we're going to a critical time where, with the motion the action just before appointing the EDF to look at possible land use, I think it behooves us to have an experienced person on the board.
And he's been involved in all this stuff before, so he has a basic understanding. He's very knowledgeable, I shouldn't say basic, very knowledgeable about everything that we're fixing to do moving forward as a planning commission. He's going to be very involved in that.
Right. Okay. Any other discussion or comments on the motion being considered? If not, we have a motion and a second. If no other discussion, we'll now vote. All those in favor of nominating or appointing Mike Griffith to serve on the Planning Commission signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no.
No.
All right, so Mike Griffith is appointed by a vote of 3-2. And I want to echo what Commissioner Lamb said, and we greatly appreciate all the candidates that submitted their name for consideration. We need and desperately want more engagement with the things we do here at the city, and there'll be other opportunities, so please continue to be engaged, and thank you for doing so. All right, item 4E, possible, 4E, that's right. I got confused. Possible action to appoint Tommy Johnson to serve one new 3-year term on the Board of Adjustments through September 2028. For an introduction to this item, we'll call on City Manager Ryan Oxner.
So similar comments to the previous item, and this is the person we had who expressed interest in serving in this opportunity.
Okay, so we have an explanation from Mr. Oxner. Is there any discussion or any questions first? If no questions, I would entertain a motion.
We don't have 3 or 4, so we can do that again.
We only have one candidate for consideration, so it should be easy. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Tommy.
Yes, Tommy Johnson. Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Lofton to approve, appoint Tommy Johnson to serve one three-year term on the Board of Adjustment through September 2028. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second from Commissioner Lamb. Any discussion?
Just briefly, I'd say people don't know what the Board of Adjustment does. We only got one applicant. I wish we'd had four like we did for the Planning Commission, because the Board of Adjustment is a little bit different animal. It sits out there quasi judicially, and it can do some of the same things that the Planning Commission does. In fact, it can even make some changes that the Planning Commission may not have approved in the first place. So they're not the same animal, but boy, they're both important. And I wish we had had four quality applicants like we did for the other one. So maybe in the future we can make sure we advertise all these appointments like we kind of did for the Planning Commission this time.
Yes, I would agree. Tommy Johnson has served on that board for quite some time. I believe he is the chair, or has been the chair for quite some time, and we greatly appreciate his willingness to continue to serve in that capacity. But it would be nice to see 2, 3, 4 candidates like we did for the Planning Commission, and I know this is a very important board as well. So, but we are thankful for his willingness to serve. Any other discussion? If not, we'll now vote. All those in favor of appointing Tommy Johnson to serve one new 3-year term on the Board of Adjustment through September 2028 signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, that item is approved by a vote of 5-0. We'll now go to item 4F. And I have a potential conflict of interest on this particular item, so I'm going to disqualify myself from any discussion or vote. So I'm going to leave our bench area, and I'm going to come sit in the audience, and I'm going to turn this particular item over to Vice Chair Beasley.
All right, so our next scheduled business is item 4F, discussion and possible action for a conditional use permit for property located at 221 North Cleveland Avenue. For more details, I'm going to give this over to City Manager Ryan Oxner.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask Caleb Dawes to come up, please. He's most familiar with this. He's our Community Development Supervisor, and he'll explain the history of this application.
Good evening. How are you guys today?
Good evening.
1 second. Sorry. Okay, so we have a application here for conditional use permit located at 221 North Cleveland. It's just right around the corner there. They're wanting to do a restaurant and billiards hall kind of thing there, and that is actually permitted by right in a C3, which is where that's located. However, it's permitted without the sale of alcohol. And because they would like to serve alcohol on premises, it needs a conditional use permit. This was heard by the Planning Commission on September 25th. They discussed it, and the applicants were there, and they're here tonight as well. But the applicants were there for that meeting, and they presented to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission heard them out, and at the end of the day, they voted to recommend approval for this to you guys with a vote of 4-0. Are there any other questions or anything I can answer?
I have questions. So what would the hours of operation be?
That is, I'm not certain on that. Mr. and Mrs. Schumann are here, and I believe they can answer that question.
Okay. Hello.
All right. The hours of operation would probably be like 10 to midnight through the week, and then Friday and Saturday we'd possibly stay open till 2. But generally it'd be closed by midnight.
Will there be an age limit on the?
No, there won't. It's going to be a family-friendly venue where we'll have like pinball, darts, foosball, pool tables, and then of course the restaurant.
Was there anybody there in opposition at the Planning Commission meeting?
No, there was no opposition.
No citizens or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay, great. We're excited. We're excited to have you downtown. Hopefully we have an easy deal to pass tonight. So it's exciting. we have any, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you guys for your time.
Are there any citizens here that would like to speak in this, on this agenda item? Okay. We have a motion?
I make a motion to approve 4F.
All right, we have a motion by Chairman Lofton to approve item 4F. Do we have a second?
No, don't get me chairman.
I'm sorry.
I'm just commissioner.
The 1966 Chairman Lofton. Do I have a second? I'll second. Second, item 4F. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Some discussion?
Oh, yeah, thank you. We're open for some discussion here.
I generally would be opposed to this. I sat at the meeting where it was discussed. I went to the planning commission as it was discussed and thought given to several of the issues involved. Like staff said, there was no citizens input opposing that, but you know, we often find citizens opposing after the fact.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that's not the deciding factor. In this case, it's pretty close to the other zoning that would allow serving of alcohol. I think it's like 50 feet or 100 feet from that. So that weighs in its favor. And the other thing that weighs in its favor is the new future land use map may have provisions that would allow it to happen anyway. And the last thing is I have great respect for the Planning Commission, and they did talk about all these items in some detail. And so I'm going to vote for it with some reservations. I generally think you ought to stay within the plan that you already have. And the number of times that we've changed zoning to meet a special exception has not always worked out well, but what has worked out better are conditional use permits, which is what we're authorizing tonight. Because that means that you have a chance to look at it. If the use turns out to be unlike what it was purported to be, then you can withdraw that permit. So,
How long is the permit good for?
I think it's 5 years, isn't it, staff?
They're typically 5 years, but they can be a different time frame if desirable.
And if the conditions are not met during that time, I think it can be attacked too. So, anyway, I'm comfortable enough to vote for it tonight.
All right, any other discussion? All right. We'll go to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we have passed item 4F with a vote of 5-0. We're going to move on quickly through the rest of the agenda before the chairman returns. Sorry, 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Beasley. Okay, so that has been approved by a vote of 4-0. So we will move to item 5A, resolution number 13-2025. A resolution declaring certain city-owned personal property to be obsolete or surplus, authorizing and directing the city manager to sell or otherwise dispose of such obsolete or surplus property, and providing for notice of sale. And for an explanation on this item, we'll call on Assistant City Manager Derek Griffith.
Good evening. This is a continuation of our same mission to surplus and sell what we no longer have in use in the city. And this is round 3 of that I've been advertising. It's probably 4, but this is round 3. So happy to answer any questions. There's a companion item in the CMA agenda too that'll address those assets that are owned by the CMA.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the detailed report in the agenda packet. And as you mentioned, this has been an ongoing process with getting rid of surplus items that we no longer need or are prohibiting progress
Yes, sir.
on site. So are there any questions for Mr. Griffith on this item?
Didn't you say phase one, you brought in about 45,000?
It was almost 50,
50, what about phase two?
same money,
Good job.
but $100,000
Okay.
in those two phases through the online auction site. And it's
I'm gonna bid on that charcoal grill.
It's been exclusively sold through that site, so it's been good. It's worked well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Is this a process, how many phases of this do you, we've done several, 3 phases recently.
This is the third.
Okay. Is this something we're going to continue to do and just take inventory of?
It's been so long since we've taken action. It's taken a while to get it organized, compiled in front of you guys to surplus and take action. Once we get through this bulk, the goal of staff is to do this once a year, to just stay on top of this so we don't get to the point we are now.
I've got to assume that we've gotten rid of a lot of stuff that needed to be gotten rid of.
Yes, sir.
Now, do we still have stuff that needs to be gotten rid of but didn't sell? And have we considered hauling it to the junkyard?
Yes, and there's some of the action that you've taken in the past was for scrap material.
Yeah.
Which is, there's some things that the auction service won't sell because it's just, there's no value in it. So it goes to scrap and we sell it for scrap.
So just get it cleaned up.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for Assistant City Manager Griffith? Thank you.
You bet.
All right. If no other questions, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution number 13-2025.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Lamb to approve resolution number 13-2025. Is there a second?
I second that.
All right, I have a second from Commissioner Branyan. If no discussion, we will now vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, item 5A is approved by a vote of 5-0. We will come back to item 6A. That moves us to item 7, public input and unscheduled personal appearances. Mr. Oxner has provided a couple of public input applications tonight to speak. So the first individual is Vicki Case. So Ms. Case, are you here? We'd like to invite you up to the podium and allow you 3 minutes to speak. And during this public input time, we're not able to engage back and forth, but we do take seriously any input that's provided and look forward to engaging with you and as the city staff in other ways to address your issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you're 30 seconds in. I'm just kidding.
Talk fast.
Come on now. Okay. I've lived here in Cushing all my life, and for the last 30 years, we've got a place outside of Cushing, well, I guess it's inside the city limits, where we burn limbs and shrubs and stuff that we pick up. We have rental property. And so the last time I did it was April of this year. Got it all cleared with the fire department. So we had a big pile again to take care of, and we called the fire department, and they said that we couldn't do it anymore. And that's what that's all about. Are you all aware of this? That I gave you?
This
It tells you, the fire department says they've got new rules on burning, and the only reason they wouldn't let us burn is because we hauled limbs and shrubs out to this location on Johnson, and all that's out there is like metal buildings and some trailers down at the end of it's a short street. And they said we couldn't do it because we brought them in from some other place. Well, you can't burn in town, you know. I mean, we can't because our houses are in the way. So what are we going to do? That's what I'm asking. we gotta have someplace to take this stuff when we accumulate it. And I'll show you the pile. It's, if they let us burn one more time. If you want to pass that down. And that's how far it is from the street. We need someplace to go. That'll affect a lot of people. I got a list of all the people that have rental property in Cushing, and I called several of them, and they didn't know anything about this at all, just like me. So I piled this all up, and now I can't get rid of it. Will you let me burn it one more time? Talk to the fire department. And I don't even know if I'm inside the city limits. Have you got a map to show me? Because I've been doing this 30 years, and this is the first time, and I'm not no young woman, I've lived here all my life, I've ever had trouble doing this before. The fire chief was very nice and came over and talked to me, because Beasley, I talked to him, and he sent him to my house, and he said he couldn't do anything about it because of these new laws. Well, somebody needs to put these new laws in the Cushing paper or let people know that this is going on, or it's going to happen to them too. So that's why I'm down here. What are we going to do?
Okay.
You all have a place for us to take this stuff when we pick it all up at these houses? You can't burn it at the houses because the houses are too close.
Well, that's the end of the 3 minutes, but we appreciate you providing the input, and rest
Okay.
assured, we will be communicating with city staff, and we will be engaging with you too to
Okay.
try to find a solution.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, yes, thank you, Ms. Case. All right, the next individuals we have for public input are Becky Collins and Diana Gann. Invite you to the podium, and again, you'll have 3 minutes. And we're not able to engage directly, but are looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
All right, my name is Diana. You'll have to excuse me. I'm not much of a public speaker. So I presented you guys with a layout of kind of what our plan is. We are looking at the Cushing Rodeo Grounds, trying to bring it back. I know that the bleachers were a big concern. I took it upon myself. I met with Mr. Oshner, had the pleasure of getting to sit down with him and talk with him about concerns, bleachers being the main concern. I did speak with Glenn Morgan, the owner of TKO. And 2 years ago, he was who the city had go out and, quote, just completely tearing them down. He informed me, he went back out for me and looked at it and did agree that the much more practical solution would be to repair them, that it was much more feasible for repair rather than destruction. We would like to possibly gather a rodeo association again. Mr. Marty Brock, his plan was to be here with us tonight. He's helping us with this also, but he had a revival he had to be at. But, you know, I've laid it out. We don't expect you guys to pay for anything. You know, our goal would be to community involvement, the local FFA kids, you know, get everything brought back. We were going to talk with businesses about donations to help us get it brought back. A lot of towns locally here, you know, Perkins, Drumright even, have amazing rodeo associations where these kids get to go and they get to compete. Her son went to college for roping. My daughter is a current college athlete at NEO for barrel racing. These kids, they're missing out on so many opportunities by Cushing not offering that anymore. And we have ample grounds. We've spoke with Jessica Sands. She runs the Oklahoma Junior High Rodeo Association along with the Oklahoma High School Rodeo Association. You know, she has agreed that if we get Cushing brought back, that we can bring junior high school rodeo back to Cushing. We do not want to bring PRCA back due to the costs for now, that it caused more costs than it did anything. So, you know, we've spoken with rodeo contractors. Everybody has loved Cushing Rodeo Grounds and wants it brought back. And we are willing to step up and do that, hold our own insurance policy do whatever it is you guys request. But like I said, you know, if the bleachers are a concern, if you guys would look at letting us try to do this, you know, give us a couple of years, see how it goes, whatever it is that we may need to do to work with the city to get that brought back, because it is an amazing arena. It truly is. And, you know, one issue only being the bleachers is no reason not to have that here for the kids. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's their 3 minutes. We appreciate you
All right.
providing that input tonight. And you
Thank
did
you.
bring a handout that we're going to make sure everyone has, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. If no other public input this evening, we will close item 7 and move to item 8, City Manager's Communications, and we'll call on Mr. Oxner again.
Thank you, Chair. Now, I want to update on a couple of projects this evening, and as well as give a brief comment on our sales tax revenue for the fiscal year. So first off, of course, with our very visible project going on 9th Street, contractors are making great progress on that project. Most of the construction of the curb and grading for the sidewalk is completed on the north side of the street between Crestview and Lakeview. Road, you see the rock going down, that's the road-based preparation. What they're working on now will be the furthest north lane, and you'll see the grading for the sidewalk occurring there adjacent to that. And then, of course, there'll be the construction of the next 2 lanes further south once they're completed with the north side here. Now, there have been, of course, as you can expect these type of projects, some unforeseens, such as recently encountered a soft spot that it was difficult and took some extra work and extra material to get that to meet compaction standards and specifications. So you will, towards the end of this project, see some change orders related to justifications of the accounting of those unit prices. But I can tell you the investment that Commission made in the inspection services and the planning of this project are paying off with how the project's currently going. It's going very smoothly. They are working in an incredibly tight area, but making great progress nonetheless. So fingers crossed that continues. Of course, that probably won't always be our report because weather happens, and that'll be a factor here, and that's planned for. But we're happy with the progress as it is currently occurring. Let's see. We will also be looking at the possibility of extending a mill and overlay to that. That'll take that all the way to Linwood, and also a little bit of additional sidewalk there to connect that sidewalk closer to Linwood than it currently will with the project. So I commonly get asked if the project is going to go further east. The answer is no, the city's project will not go any further east than it already is, because that is the city limits, and that's where we have the authority to work. So anything beyond that would be up to the county to answer that question if there will be any additional improvements made further east from where the construction's already occurring. And as a reminder, this is part of a $3.4 million investment that the city's making into the streets. Future projects that are also part of that $3.4 million will occur on Walnut, 3rd Street, and 4th Street, sections of those. It also includes some water line as in those areas as well. So the second project I want to mention to you, and you have a picture on in your report there from me, is our restroom in Memorial Park. The contractors have gotten the demolition complete. They've installed the plumbing. I should say, well, the plumbing that comes up through the foundation anyway, so the stuff below the ground. And they have poured the pad and the sidewalks for that, so you can kind of start to see the shape that'll take place. And it'll be constructed before peak park season begins to occur this coming spring and summer. So we look forward to that. The project's moving along nicely. And last, I'll touch on our August tax receipts. As I point out, our tax receipts from revenue, our tax revenue collections occur 2 months after they're actually collected at the stores or vendors. Sales tax for this same period August compared to the year before is down just slightly at 0.4%, below where it was a year prior. For the year, the fiscal year, which we're only 2 months into, sales tax revenue is up 8.66%. So that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
You were talking about 9th Street ending at the city limits, and then on out east is county. Have we gotten any kind of commitment from the county?
No, we do not, and I think it's probably best if I don't speak for them. My personal understanding is that they are in the process of planning that project, but I have no additional information beyond that.
Do we need to visit with them or leave them alone for a while?
Oh no, I think we got plenty of our own projects, but and of course Commissioner Cavett is well involved and aware, and we do meet with him periodically, just for the purpose of aligning projects in general. Yes, thank you. Good question.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Oxner on his report this evening? Okay, if not, we appreciate the report as always, and we will move to item 9, Commissioners' Community Announcements, and we'll start with Vice Chair Beasley tonight.
Thank you. It's good to see everybody tonight. Just have a few things I wanted to share. First of all, I wanted to say, I guess Vicki Case is gone, but I'm really sorry that happened, Vicki, with the dumped limbs. I think that's something that we can work on in life to fix, and hopefully that doesn't happen to you again. Diane Gann, thanks for working on the rodeo. I think it's really cool and something we can make really positive for Cushing. The billiards and restaurant about to open up. Welcome to the Broadway District. We're excited to have you all as our neighbors and friends. That's a great project, and that one that will further our vision for the Broadway District. I've been speaking to Commissioner Cavett as well about bringing the sidewalks east, and I would encourage our community to write letters and reach out and call him and express your excitement about having a sidewalk all the way to the schools, because he is really the key component in making that happen. And he does see it, and I think he does care about making that project happen. But let him know that you're willing to help in whatever way that is. I think there's ways that maybe we can go get grants and some other things to help make that happen. So I'm excited about that. Regina Brown, Ryan Blakemore, Brett Anderson, thank you all for applying for the Planning Commission. It's exciting to see folks interested. Hopefully we have a commissioner that'll be up and away off to the House, and we will have an empty seat someday here. There's lots of opportunity to serve, and I really look at the three of you all as being somebody that would be a great asset to not just the Planning Commission, but the Commission itself. And I hope that you all will consider serving that role in the very near future. So it's really hard. Folks like Matt Turner can't serve in that seat. We have some amazing talent, amazing folks in our community that are unable to serve, and that really is based on a housing crisis. That's really where it all comes down to. So I hope that that's something we can continue to further our development, and we can continue to fix that problem of not having great housing for folks that need that in our community. And in the meantime, we need to have the folks that are capable, like yourselves, here serving and helping us grow and be bigger and better than we ever thought we could be. So thank you all, and we love you, Cushing. It's good.
Thank you, Vice Chair Beasley. Commissioner Lamb.
Oh, okay. Well, I would echo what Commissioner Beasley said. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the presentation on the rodeo grounds. I'm excited about what the EDF's going to do as far as the land that we own. Again, thanks to Brett and the others, I was encouraged to see that we had 4, and I would encourage not only you guys to stay involved, but get other people involved. I was driving in yesterday, and I saw Commissioner Brannion kind of loitering around and down the streets. And he was taking pictures. And I stopped and visited with him, and he was taking pictures of this sidewalk with grass growing up through it. And I harassed him a little bit, and I said, you know, a little Roundup would work on that. Anyway, about, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes later, he sent me a bunch of pictures. And it was pictures of the street, or the sidewalk with grass growing up in it, was the first set, and the second set, there was absolutely no grass. So thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner. I really appreciate that. Now, another thing that I'm going to try is that I'm going to try to be here about 30 minutes before the commission meeting to be available to the public and to the employees. I mean, you guys got a big stake in this. And, you know, to tell me what they see as issues, or, you know, even if they want to make compliments, that's fine. But yeah, I would like to be available so that we can have some interaction. I do have some rules. I will not condone talking bad about the city employees or city staff or any of the other city commissioners. If you want to talk bad to me, that's fine. I can handle it. But anyway, I'll try to be here 30 minutes before, so I would encourage you, if you've got something you want to talk about, but have your facts. I don't want to hear you tell me something that your ex-wife's brother-in-law, sister's babysitter told you. And then another thing is that I am already looking for my replacement. I was encouraged again. I'm looking for someone that's 20 to 30 years younger than I am, because we got some old folks up here, and I won't name names, and someone that has some business, has been involved in running a business or owning a business. So anybody that fits that category, or if you know anybody that fits that category, tell me. You know, we need you. You're the future leaders of this community. I think I've talked enough.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Lamb. Commissioner Lofton.
I really don't know what I can add to all of it. Mr. Beasley's wanting me to hurry up and get out, and he calls me an old geezer. What is there to add?
Well, I can think of a lot of flags.
The rodeo deal, kudos to y'all. Kudos. Make it work. Folks opened the place downtown. Congratulations. Welcome to Cushing. I seen you two picking weeds, and I thought about stopping, but I'd broken open meeting act then, so I didn't stop.
We could have sent you half a block down.
That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Lofton. Commissioner Branion.
I'm going to say some of the same stuff, but put a different spin on it. And the spin I'd put it on it is that government is limited in what it can really do, and sometimes it ought to be limited in what it should do. But it's citizens that make our town such a good place. And examples of that would be $110,000 contribution by the B. and Lionel Harris Foundation to make our downtown look better and be better. The Geographic Club donated $20,000 for bathrooms in the city park. Didn't come close to covering that, but was a citizen directed effort to make our town better, and the city matched, more than matched that, and it may do the same thing with the sidewalks, but those are the kind of things that make your town better. Ms. Gann came and talked about the rodeo. That's something that this commission we can't go out and get kids to rodeo, but citizens can. And if that happens, our town will be a better place because it has rodeo grounds that are active and kids doing things. And I thank you for that. The Planning Commission, we had 4 volunteers for that. And like Ron said, we can only do so much. You need volunteers, fresh blood, people with new ideas in these things. And I thank all those people that did it. And thank you, Brett, for being here tonight. The planning that we voted on to hear, EDF, those are people that have jobs and do other things. But the Economic Development Foundation, Matt's the vice chair of that, and I think Curtis Bales is the chair of that right now. Man, that is a powerhouse committee of smart people that work hard and think about the future of our town. And they bring stuff to us that we'd never be able to think of on our own. And that's a volunteer thing that makes our town better. We have the Flume Future Land Use Map. And that's going forward. We've already approved the map, but now we're in the next phase of zoning and some questions like that. And that'll be going on this fall and into the spring. And it should have some resolution by the time we have our the commission has its strategic planning session in March. And citizens, that's an open meeting act rule, so it's an open meeting and citizens can have some input to that. So I'm just saying that what makes Cushing such a good place is the involvement of our citizens. We saw that a little bit last Saturday with just a simple bench dedicated to Terry Brandon, and that was all done by the library board, Friends of the Library. So anyway, I just want to thank the citizens for making our town better.
Thank you, Commissioner Brandon. I just have a few announcements this evening. I always like to highlight Cushing Pride. We have Cushing Pride Recycling taking place this Sunday from noon to 2 p.m. at the ag parking lot of the Cushing High School. So if you have recycling or you just want to come down and serve and help collect recycling, we'd love to see you there. There was an e-waste event that Cushing Pride did in partnership with the Cushing Chamber of Commerce back on October 3rd. So anything with a cord, they pretty much took, and I hear that it was a huge success. So thank you to Cushing Pride and the Chamber for partnering to make that available. And then we have an upcoming event that we've been doing annually at it's November 11th. Is that the right date? November 1st. I have that date wrong. Yeah, November 1st. And that's at the Fleet Service Center, which is at the corner of Puckett and Moses. And it's an event that I always look forward to doing with Fleet and Service Center Superintendent Jeremy Brown. He's a big help in making that a successful event. So it's a used tire recycling event. So if you have a used tire that you don't know what to do with and you need to get rid of it, this is your opportunity. So November 1st, that's a Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we also could always use volunteers. It fluctuates every year, the number of tires we receive, but there was one year where it was nonstop unloading of tires. So if you need something to do middle of the day on November 1st, come out and join us. I don't know what else to say. All of our commissioners highlighted the engagement within our community, and I would agree. It's refreshing to see the level of engagement. We have a lot of activity going on throughout our community. There's a lot of optimism and a lot of opportunities. So please continue to be engaged. When you find opportunities to plug in, provide input, please do so. And I also want to mention what Commissioner Lamb said about being available before our meetings. Our meeting takes place at 7 o'clock on the third Monday of every month. We've been making it a habit to have a workshop before that meeting from approximately 5:30 to 6:30 on those evenings. So we're all here and available before the meeting. So if you'd like to engage with us in person, we're all here and available to do so. And then City Hall has our contact information, but we are representatives. We want to be available to hear what's important to you and serve you and help interact with staff to move our community forward. And that's all I have this evening. We do have to come back to this agenda item for an executive session, so we'll recess this meeting at 8:15 p.m. and we'll call to order the Cushing Municipal Authority regular meeting. Excuse me. Mrs. Worthy, will you please call roll?
Present. Here.
Present.
Here.
Present. The chair recognizes a quorum. Thank you, Mrs. Worthy. We'll move to item 2, consent agenda. Having read the consent agenda, are there any items any trustees would like removed for further discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, I have a motion from Trustee Lofton to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from Vice Chair Beasley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, the consent agenda is approved by a vote of 5-0, excuse me. All right, we'll now move to item 4, scheduled business 4A, presentation and acceptance of fiscal year 2024-2025 Cushing Municipal Authority audit. We heard the presentation and had discussion earlier regarding this item from Mr. Crooks with CBEW Professional Group. If there's no further questions or discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept item 4A.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Beasley to accept item 4A, or to approve item 4A for acceptance of the CMA audit. Is there a second?
I second.
I have a second from Trustee Branion. If no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, that item is approved by a vote of 5-0. We'll move to item 4B. Authorize the chair to execute supplemental agreement number 001 to work order number 25-04 with Professional Engineering Consultants, PEC, in the amount of $9,700 for design, bid, and management services related to filter control panel replacement at the water treatment plant. And for an explanation on this item, we will call on Chad Greiser with PEC here. He's our engineer. We're thankful you're here, and we know you're a busy man, so we're looking forward to hearing. I think you're on a couple of items this evening, so this is the first one, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good evening. Item B here, we're talking about the water treatment plant. We're currently going through some processes to design actuator replacements down in the pipe gallery in the basement of the plant. Through conversation with water plant staff out there, we realized that floodwaters did enter into to the PLC panels, the filter control panels in the upstairs part of that building. And so we're going to bring that component of work into the current contract and get those fixed up and repaired and, well, replaced. Is really what it's going to amount to. So happy to entertain any questions you guys would have on that.
Are there any questions for Mr. Greiser on this item? No questions. So thank you. If no questions, I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve item 4B.
All right, I have a motion from Trustee Branion to approve item 4B.
I'll second.
I have a second from Vice Chair Beasley. If no further discussion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I might
go
just say
ahead.
that, I think we heard earlier, several meetings ago, about what the problem was at the plant and that this addresses some of those problems. So we didn't need a full dissertation from PEC this evening, but we understand what the problem was. Thank you.
Yep. Yes, thank you, Trustee Branion. Any further discussion? If not, we'll now vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, that item is approved by a vote of 5-0. And we'll move to item 4C, authorize the chair to execute work order number 25-06 with PEC in the amount of $15,300 for site discovery and land use concept services related to the municipal authority-owned 213.34 acre tract of land located northwest of Main Street and Norfolk Road. And for an explanation and introduction to this item, we'll start with City Manager Ryan Oxner.
Thank you, Trustee. This is related in a way to the work that the Cushing Economic Development Foundation was tasked with earlier this evening. This is specific to the area of approximately 213 acres north and east of Walmart. So what this would do is would provide some professional services related to planning the most effective and efficient use of that property in tandem with working with the foundation. It is important for the commission, as recommendations start to come back, for you to have data about the impacts that different development types will require to support infrastructure-wise. Infrastructure costs vary greatly depending on the type of development that goes in there, so this will help start to provide some information understanding related to implications of different land use types as this project progresses. So this is all in response to your goal of finding the highest and best use for city-owned property.
All right, thank you, Mr. Oxner. Mr. Greiser, would you like to elaborate on this at all?
Yes, a little more detail on that. So part of this effort is going to be some research in utilities into adjacent land uses, the flume, as referred to earlier. And bringing all that together into what's a high-level concept, not to the street level, not to platting or anything like that, but just what's a great use? Is that commercial? Is that mixed use? Is that residential? What is this 213-acre development? What could this look like? And there's back and forth between us and the council and all that. So it's not like us telling the city of Cushing what this needs to be. It's going to be a mutual understanding and an agreement of what it's going to look like. So very high level concept view of this. We're not going to come out with any utility estimates at this or any infrastructure improvements. It's just going to be a matter of it's a great picture of what it can be.
What would the process look like, or how extensive would the process be to add utility infrastructure?
Really, it's going to identify.
Once we have a better idea
Right.
of what's realistic there.
And that's part of that's step one, obviously, and we would need to dive into a little bit more detail about, okay, are these 2-acre unit residential lots, for example, apartment units? What does that look like? And then from there, we can start identifying water use, sewer use, what street improvements are going to need to happen.
Mr. Oxner, if I remember correctly in reading the summary page, you had, I think, referenced in there how this report would be able to work in tandem with the committee that we approved this evening that's going to be tasked with helping move not only this piece of property forward, but other pieces of property. But will they have some involvement in this process as well?
Yes, as part of this scope of work, PEC is willing and planning to meet with the foundation. They're going to be a resource for the foundation. They'll be working for the city, of course, under our direction. But we as staff and PC want to support the foundation how we can through that process.
Great. Any other questions for staff or Mr.
I
Greiser?
had some questions, and I've had this discussion with city manager several times. We've got the Economic Development Foundation that is looking at the property and is going to make recommendations about best use. My feel is that this will need to be done. I don't question that. But I question that, should we wait till after they make us a recommendation for best use, before we do this? And I talked to Mr. Turner, and, he told me, he said, from his standpoint, we could put this off 6 months and it would be all right. Now, he also, in all fairness, he also indicated that, it wasn't a bad deal.
Sure.
But my question is my concern is that if we do this work and then they come back with a different recommendation, will we have to do the work all over again? I guess what I'm saying is sell me on this deal.
Yeah, I think it'd be part of the process. We just take those baby steps and working with the foundation, their recommendations and what we see out there as great land opportunity and find that happy medium. We don't have to accelerate to the preliminary concept or the final concept until everybody's happy with what we're seeing on, just on the sketch, and just be part of those baby steps and getting towards those final and the preliminary and final steps of that plan.
That makes me feel better about it, because you can run down whatever scope you think and run $15,000 done in 2 seconds.
That's
Whereas
quick,
if
yeah,
we're working
quick.
together,
Yeah.
I think we have an end result that's a little more usable.
Mr. Kaiser, Commissioner Lamb and I have discussed it a little bit. We're a little bit different opinions. I can't make a decision on what the best use is or even get there at all unless I know what the infrastructure is going to cost. I'm a little disappointed that isn't part of the preliminary look, because I'd be interested in, how much the lift station can handle. If it's going to be close residential, what is it going to be sewer problem? If it's industrial use, it's a little easier. Maybe it's just high high voltage electric that needs to go out there and a little bit of road. If it's some other kind of thing, you're gonna need, more road. I just think that for my own satisfaction, I'd wanna know kind of the parameters of what I'm looking at for infrastructure before EDF comes back and says, oh yeah, we think this is the best use. Then the first thing I'm gonna ask is, well, have you thought how much it's gonna cost for the infrastructure? And if there's some way that some of that information can be put into the mix as we go along, I'd find that more helpful.
Well, I'm not an engineer, but the infrastructure, I think, would depend on what we determine as the use. Is it gonna be commercial? Is it gonna be industrial? Is it gonna be residential? And I think there's a different answer to each one of those. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on what lands in there.
Yeah, and that's why I say, let's determine what we're gonna do with it, and then bring you guys in, because you're definitely gonna have to come in. I just.
But the scope might be different.
Well, let's just think, let's say EDF comes in and says, what we really need is, a bunch of housing out there. And we'll say, okay, the next thing we're doing is, how much is it gonna cost to get the road out there? How much is it gonna cost to get the infrastructure out there and all that? And then we're gonna make perhaps a different evaluation of whether housing is what we really want out there. When we find out it costs $7.5 million to get, that we don't have to put infrastructure out there for housing, that the developer is gonna want us to put in, maybe housing isn't what we want out there.
It also would affect the volume, right? So
Yeah.
if it is a high cost, we're like, well, we have to get 200 houses in there to make that make sense. Or maybe it's low enough where we can say, hey, there's enough room for
Yeah.
a little bit of land for each home.
So, I don't know.
Okay. Well,
The chicken and the egg problem.
yeah, and some of this discussion we can have if a motion's made, and get into
I'm sorry.
the pros and cons of, the motion, but, it's still good discussion nonetheless. But, can you, kind of summarize from a practical standpoint how the data from this report that you will prepare would be helpful in, the process of determining, the best use for that land?
Yeah, it's definitely a visualization tool, first and foremost. I mean, picture paints 1,000 words. That's gonna be something that's gonna come out of this effort. But it really just kind of sets the stage in partnership with that future land use map and identifying that area and what it can be and in those adjacent areas.
But you're gonna work in conjunction with the EDF. You've already discussed this with them?
Yeah. Well, do you want that one?
No, I've been the point of contact for PEC, city staff has, and we've been the point of contact with the foundation. So,
They'll be the
We will
city
move
staff.
forward. Yeah.
And in preparation for supporting them, this is a tool that we prepared and have requested because we know it's going to be best to have in our toolbox.
What if we approved spending this money maybe with PEC, but let the EDF utilize the money and build the scope along with PEC and give them that freedom. That way they can match it up. They'll have a high ownership of the outcome. Might be a different approach.
Can we do that?
I don't know.
As a city, can we do that?
Yeah. Well, there's a question there.
So what exactly is the question, or for you?
So can we make these funds available to the EDF in partnership with PEC and allow them to develop the scope and work with that budget to get their preliminary needs met? That way we have a committee. I mean, I guess at the same time you'll be heavily involved too, right? So I'm just trying to think if there's another way for us to get what we want out of this. I want that committee to be heavily involved.
Oh,
And
definitely. Yeah.
You can
I
spend.
I just don't want them to get information that may not be useful.
Yeah.
It's not a strong scope of work right now. That's the concern, right? And it'll get better as you know.
Do we have, we're getting into discussion again. Let's try to maintain any other questions for city staff, like some targeted questions about the scope of the thing, and then we can entertain a motion and get into discussion once a motion's made. Any other questions for Mr. Greiser or city staff regarding the proposed agenda item? Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt, we approve 4C.
Okay, I have a motion from trustee Brandon to approve item 4C. Is there a second? I would second that item. All right, so we have a motion and a second. We can now discuss the item, the motion on the table.
Can we just go ahead and pay this bill and let EDF work with them? And they can,
But let them develop the scope.
let them take care of it. We've already paid for it. We're going to eventually anyway.
Yeah.
But don't come back and want another $15,300 to do it again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my point.
Why?
Is, you know,
But we're already cleared the money part of it.
let's decide what we're gonna do, and then, yes, these
And
guys,
let them work it out.
yeah, let them work it out, but right now,
We're
Well,
whether we do it now or later.
Here's why my opinion on that particular recommendation. So it is the taxpayers' money, and obviously we spend lots of money in lots of different ways. But I see the advantage of approving this through the CMA and allowing city staff who works with PEC on a regular basis to streamline communication, and they have a process that they utilize to develop this plan, and then city staff in conjunction with Mr. Greiser and his team at PEC can work as a team with the EDF board. So that way there's accountability there. We make sure that the funds are spent properly and wisely, and we're still working together and collaboratively and cooperatively to reach our goal. And we don't have to rush it. We can take our time, and we can do it in steps, as Mr. Greiser expressed earlier, and make sure we get that committee working, and our ultimate goal is fulfilled.
I could come along with you on that, but on the alternative view on that would be, let's just delay and allow the EDF to work with city staff to develop a better scope and then bring it back to the commission. That's another safe way to handle this. You could talk me into either way, because I think we all have the right intentions on this, but what's the right answer?
Well, one thing that I note as I look at the exhibits are, you know, the things that, some of the basic things they're gonna do is stuff that EDF is gonna wanna use anyway. You know, getting maps, laying out, you know, where the pipelines are. A lot of this stuff is publicly available, but it's not in a real usable format yet. And I think PEC could get the drawings done, do those kind of things, have a discovery base map, have some topo maps, and those kind of things are gonna be useful no matter what. And I just think get those on the front end so that we have something concrete to work from would be, am I reading that wrong? No, that'd be my suggestion. May not be the worst 15,000 we ever spent.
Yeah.
And I'd like to, you know, it's nothing we have to start right on immediately. I mean, get the notice to proceed, but that doesn't mean we go on day two. We just, like I say, throttle that and just work at the pace that it needs to and come to a conclusion.
The only deliverables are a site discovery base map and a conceptual land use plan, correct?
Mhm.
So if we had an Alta survey and just a little bit of legwork, we're a long ways there, are we not? And especially if we don't, you've got some creative individuals that are gonna put a vision together, and then you could say, I don't think so, and at that point, we have a conversation and we have a scope starting to develop, you know?
and Matt Turner has had some experience in this area.
Yes. I think I'm a no on this, and I think I'm supportive of it down the road, but I think I'm a no until after the EDF touches it and gets to work.
That's where
Working on
I'm.
it here.
Yeah. I see the value in having the data, and I think it's something we're gonna have to do at some point regardless, so I just think greenlighting it now allows us to be able to utilize it and have PEC put it together for us in a timely fashion when we're ready, so that's my thought process, so I'm supportive of the motion.
Does an Alta survey already exist? Do you have that in your possession yet?
I don't think so.
Will you include that in your deliverables?
That's not, no. That's a pretty hefty venture the Alta surveys are. Yeah.
Any other discussion? Nope. Okay. If not, we'll now vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed say no.
No.
All right. So that is approved by a vote of 3-2. All
Thank
right.
you.
Yep. Well, you have one more, right? Item 4D, authorize the chair to execute work order number 25.07 with Professional Engineering Consultants, PEC, in the amount of $28,900 for design, bid, and management services related to replacement of approximately 620 feet of lateral sewer line on 6th Street from Michigan Avenue to Linwood Avenue, and to authorize payment. And for an explanation on this, we'll call on Mr. Greiser again.
Yeah, so this is related to a previous consent order from ODQ. It's going to resolve that consent order. We went through a master study of that whole trunk line area and obviously identified the 6th Street lateral as a primary culprit of the consent order. And so this is a design effort that we will go in and either rehab or more than likely just offset and replace that entire lateral line for a few blocks and crossing the creek. We'll work in coordination with ODQ, get permitting in place, and get that consent order resolved.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation. So we obviously had the consent order from DEQ, and we provided a report.
We did.
That you prepared
We did.
For them. Did they respond to the report? Was there an approval process? Is that how that worked? Or-
They have not responded unless you've seen anything from them, Derek.
Have not, no, they have not acknowledged that they received it.
Okay.
We have verification that we did.
But we know that it's something that we have to address, and so we're just getting a head start and, yep.
As part of the negotiation after the consent order was issued, what we were both able to resolve to was that we would provide a study or this master plan that he's referring to in year one, which was June.
Right.
And then beyond that, we would start to implement that plan. This is the implementation.
Yep.
Okay, so we don't have to wait on them to approve anything to move forward with the plan. We know that it's our plan that we devised to solve the problem that they made us aware of, and we're implementing that, beginning implementation of that plan with this approval of this item.
Absent permitting, it'll require permitting.
Right.
But absent that,
Okay. Thank you. Will there be any other work needed done on the Michigan trunk line after this phase?
There are areas of deficiencies that do require some attention. At the moment, they're not under any consent orders, but they need some attention.
Okay. All right.
I was surprised that the, with the problems we got on the Michigan trunk line, that this 620 feet is all that we're addressing right now, but this will address the consent order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, through the master study, we found, we took cameras through the lines, and in that area, they're very segmented and offset, and with that, you get a lot of inflow and infiltration of just stormwater, which that's what you don't want in your sanitary sewer. And that's what is a contributing factor. When you get those heavy rains, that manhole is going to overflow. It's not so much the load of the sanitary sewer itself, it's that inflow and infiltration.
And how much infiltration is there upstream in the Michigan trunk line?
Recently, within the last, I want to say 5 or 6 years, we went through a major effort of replacing a lot of that trunk line north of, I want to say Second Street. So from there north, it's in really good shape. Beginning there south is where we're starting to see those issues.
So, okay, you've replaced the north, and you're looking at the south. Do they connect?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Good question.
Any additional questions? All right, if not, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve 4D.
All right, I have a motion from Trustee Lofton to approve item 4D. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second from Vice Chair Beasley. If any further discussion or debate? If not, we'll now vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, that item is approved by a vote of 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Greiser.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, item 5A, resolution number 13-2025, a resolution declaring certain municipal authority-owned personal property to be obsolete or surplus, authorizing and directing the city manager to sell or otherwise dispose of such obsolete or surplus property, and providing for notice of sale. This is a continuation of the agenda item from the city agenda. Is there any additional input required? No. So we heard the explanation earlier from Assistant City Manager Derek Griffith. If no further questions, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve Resolution 13-2025.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Beasley to approve resolution number 13-2025. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Trustee Lamb. If no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. All right, item 5A is approved by a vote of 5-0. Public input and unscheduled personal appearances, item number 6. Is there any this evening, Mr. Auctioner?
I received none.
No one has signed up for public input, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, I have a motion from Trustee Lofton to adjourn. Is there a second? Second from Trustee Branyan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. All right, that meeting is adjourned at 8:40 p.m. We will call to order the special joint meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Cushing Hospital Authority, the Cushing Industrial Authority, and the Cushing Educational Facilities Authority. Mrs. Worthy, will you please call roll?
Mr. Branyan?
Present.
Mr. Lamb?
Here.
Mr. Beasley?
Present.
Mr. Lofton?
Here.
Chairman Robertson?
Present. Thank you, Mrs. Worthy. The chair recognizes a quorum. We will move to item 2, consent agenda. I would entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion from Trustee Lofton to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Vice Chair Beasley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. All right, that item is approved by a vote of 5-0. Scheduled business, item 4A, presentation and acceptance of the fiscal year 2024-2025 Cushing Hospital Authority, Cushing Industrial Authority, and the Cushing Educational Facilities Authority audits. We had an explanation from Mr. Crooks with CBEW Professional Group earlier. If no further questions, I would entertain a motion to approve this item.
Make a motion that we accept item 4A.
I have a motion from Vice Chair Beasley to accept the audit on item 4A. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, I have a second from Trustee Branyan. If no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, that concludes our business on this agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Trustee Branyan to adjourn. Is there a second?
Yes.
Second from Trustee Lofton. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, we are adjourned at 8:42 p.m. We have one last piece of business on the city agenda, so we're going to reconvene this regular meeting for the City of Cushing Board of Commissioners. We have an executive session item to consider. Item 6A, executive session pursuant to 25 OS 307B4 for the purpose of discussing confidential communications between a public body and its attorney concerning a pending investigation, claim, or action of the public body, with the advice of its attorney, determines that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the public body to process the claim or conduct a pending investigation, litigation, or proceeding in the public interest. Name of matter or claim, pending or possible litigation or claims concerning airport hangar tenant agreements. We do need to enter executive session, so I would entertain a motion to enter executive session on item 6A.
I make a motion, we enter executive session on 6A.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Lofton to enter executive session on 6A. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have a second from Commissioner Lamb. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All right, we will now enter executive session. There are no other public items for consideration this evening, so we thank you for being here and hope you have a wonderful rest of the week.